So I'm Milind Sohoni, a faculty member in the operations management area at ISB. Been with ISB now almost 18 years and came in as an assistant professor in the area, then worked my way through tenure. So I got to become an associate professor around 2010. And then 2016-17 is when I became a full professor, tenured professor in the area of operations management. And on the way, of course, I did a lot of administrative roles also. So I served as the dean for programs, and then I took over as the dean for faculty development. And at one point, I was the dean for academic affairs, which included both the faculty side and the program side. And then my last stint until April this year, I was the deputy dean for faculty and research. And then I just stepped down because I had done my share of the administrative load and I wanted to focus more on research and teaching. I didn't really apply to a lot of academic institutions in India, in fact none other than ISB. And ISB was a very new school at that point. There weren't enough faculty at ISB. I mean, there used to be a lot of visiting faculty that used to come and teach, but faculty that were on the permanent payroll of ISB, there were practically a handful, maybe 5 or 6. And I took that leap of faith. I said, you know what, let me give it a shot. If I have to go to India, if I want to be in research, and given that ISB was modeled after US schools, right? So given that our partner schools were Wharton and Kellogg, and I knew a few faculty members in the area of operations management who had very similar backgrounds at mine, but they were at these partner schools, but they would visit ISB. I said maybe it's a good opportunity to get into academia. Serendipitous though, but I thought about it as, hey, I'll at least get to work on problems that interest me. And I moved. I mean, in retrospect, things seem to have worked out, but at the point that I was making the decision, I was very unsure as to how will this pan out. So I am a firm believer that if the school has to remain a top-notch management institution, a research-driven management institution, the faculty have to be extremely research active. Now, first of all, since you're thinking about those problems and thinking about those issues, you may bring to the classroom ideas and thoughts that may not be readily found in textbooks or in the external literature. So it's the teaching itself, the experience for the students itself is going to be different, right? Because only a research active faculty who is actively thinking about the subject or the questions can, may pose those questions in a classroom. And I have found myself thinking about student questions both at the executive level as well as at the MBA level in my PhD classes. That hey, yeah, we said this, or this is how we teach this, but why is this correct? Why is this the way to do a certain thing? Or why is this, and does it make sense? Does it not make sense? Can it be done differently? I think that is another way where you augment the kinds of questions or the portfolio of questions that you're looking at. So I think it's a two-way street, right? And the classroom experience is just richer. Right? And as a school, I think ISB is committed to this philosophy that it wants a very research active faculty body, right? Thoughts and creating new thought, not necessarily something that is always out there, but just even incremental improvements over the way things are done, right, helps create a body of knowledge over a period of time, right? And ISB can capture that, right? I mean, it has a stake in that, and the creation of that body of knowledge will distinguish ISB eventually, right, in this part of the world. That people will want to come to ISB because they will learn something new that will not be readily available somewhere else. I'll be honest with you, right? So when I joined, I was the only faculty member in the ops area. There were no senior, no juniors, right? So not having a group of faculty members who are going through this process like you is a big hurdle to overcome, because in our profession, right? I mean, when we publish, and I mean, publishing and creating, getting publications in the top journals is a output that we are measured on. But this requires an ecosystem. You require people to talk to. You require feedback. You require, co-researchers that are also looking at similar problems. None of that existed at ISB, right? And the dependence on visiting faculty, yes and no. I mean, it has its merits and then it has some downsides to it, right? And they are not here 24/7, 365 days of the year, right? So just availability is a big issue. So I think those were some of the teething problems that I had to face on my own till I took upon myself to build the group. Right? I said, you know what, that if I have to survive in this system, I need folks who are better than me to actually come here and work at ISB. Hiring was something that I really put in a lot of effort in recruiting, right? And of course given that we were a young school, we didn't have any research positioning. I mean, yes, for all the glamorous nature of our board and all the folks that were involved in creation of ISB, great visionaries, but on the ground to still get people and faculty, it takes time, right? And it takes a lot of effort. And faculty are not going to just come because there's great infrastructure. Right? And remember, ISB is an isolated institution in an emerging economy. Right? It is not in a well-established research ecosystem, and management research in India itself is not well established. Right? So I think just attracting those set of people, getting that recruiting started, and so I would recruit at the junior level. I mean, assistant professors just like me, and I was heavily involved in getting folks, but building a group of very committed researchers. Now, not everybody was going to come to ISB because we were ISB. We didn't have a name. Let's just be honest about it, right? They had other reasons to be at ISB, but then to make it or facilitate them being at ISB, that if you had to come back to India for whatever your reasons were, why not ISB? Just this should be your choice, right? And this should be the place that you prefer. And that's what I did. Today, now we are in a position where I think we are transitioning to a young school that is capable of attracting good talent, getting more faculty to come here. It's probably not as difficult as it was in those times because we have things to show. We can talk about a few success stories of our faculty who joined ISB during those days and have succeeded. I think it's been wonderful. I think ISB as an institution has come a long way. Has a great future. It's for us to protect that. It's for us to do the right things. And it's for us to attract the right kind of faculty. Right? To me, an institution that does not have the right kind of faculty will not have the right kind of faculty governance and the kind of research that we want, or the thought creation that we want. If we focus on a few of these things, other things will fall in place. Yeah, so I mean, I wish ISB the very best. I hope I can stay part of this journey for long enough, and in the process grow myself, right? So become a better researcher.